This video is brought to you by ablmerch.com. You're able to get the hat I have on my head, maybe the one I have in my hand, plus a large selection of other hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, and more through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the NFL potentially, maybe, possibly strengthening the Rooney Rule with some new rules, new policies, new guidelines. Now, these things may come on the books soon, or they may not be on the books at all. They're still being negotiated, but as of right now, it looks like they might be on the books very soon. Now, before I get into those new things, let's talk about what the Rooney Rule is and why it's on the books at all. Now, Art Rooney was a Pittsburgh Steelers owner. He died in '88. He's been gone for a while. The Rooney family still own it to this day. His son, Dan Rooney, who died in 2017, was a politician and an executive. What he did was spearhead an investigation into why there were not enough, black head coaches, black general managers, or quote unquote minority coaches and general managers. Now, what they found was that despite black coaches having a higher win percentage, they were less likely to get hired, more likely to be fired. Not sure if that is true or false, but that's what they found in their study. And as a result of that, he was able to basically lobby the NFL to get the Rooney Rule in effect as policy. It's not law or anything like that, but it is NFL policy. And it is, quite frankly, affirmative action. I'll talk about that in a minute. So if you are one of the 32 NFL teams and you have an opening for a head coaching job, general manager job, or some other kind of high-level job like that within your organization, you must interview a quote-unquote person of color or an ethnic minority. Now, generally, when it's spoken about, people think there's got to be a black head coach because that's usually how it's spoken about, but it's not true, okay? They're talking about basically non-whites. The way they'll explain it is like, all right, blacks are like 60 to 70% of the NFL talent, but yet there's only like 2 black head coaches in the NFL right now. So we got to have more minority coaches. You see how they did that? They use the black thing and then they just make it be about minorities. Because the way they count it right now, they'll say, well, we only have 2 black head coaches, but we got 3 minority coaches. You see what I'm saying? Ron Rivera of the Panthers, Anthony Flynn of the Chargers, and then of course my man Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers, like I said, they're owned by the Rooney family. So if they created the rule, they got to have a black head coach. But different story. I'll move on. Anyway, that is the Rooney Rule and why it's in effect right now. But like I said, it's only, 2 black head coaches in the league and only 1 other minority, Ron Rivera, an Hispanic guy. So they want to strengthen that. Now, what they're going to do is crazy. I got to pull it up on the screen so you can actually see it for yourself. And I'll place the link in the description box below so you can read it for yourself. So you don't just think, oh, I'm just making stuff up and, I'm lying or whatever. No, this is coming straight from NFL.com. All right, straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Now, they have some kind of lottery system. It's weird. I'm going to read it for you. If a team hires a minority coach, head coach, that team in the draft preceding the coach's second season will move up 6 spots from where it is slotted to pick in the 3rd round. So just to give you an example. So let's say your team has the first pick in the 3rd round. You'll be moved up 6 spots to number 26. Okay, 32 teams in the league. Now you're at 26. So in the 2nd round, you may have 2 picks or more. Because if you just had a normal draft with no kind of trades or anything like that, you are given a 2nd round pick. So now you would have 2 picks. Now, what if you did some trades and were able to get more picks in the 2nd round? Okay, you could have traded a good player for a 2nd round pick. You got your own pick you were entitled to. And then you have this rule here. You might have 2, 3, 4 picks in the 2nd round. Okay, that's kind of where they're going, but it doesn't stop there. A team would jump 10 spots under the same scenario for hiring a person of color. You see how they did that, person of color. Anyway, as its primary football executive, a position more commonly known as general manager. So now, rather than 6 spots, you got 10. If a team were to fill both positions with diverse candidates in the same year, that club could jump 16 spots, 6 for the coach, 10 for the GM, and potentially move from the top of the third round to the middle of the second round. Another incentive, a team's fourth round pick would climb 5 spots in the draft preceding the coach's or GM's third year if he is still with the team. I'm triggered, you're using gender language anyway. That is considered significant because Steve Wilks and Vance Joseph, 2 of the 4 African-American head coaches hired since 2017, were fired after 1 or 2 seasons respectively. So, all right, you see what's going on here. They're basically like giving you an advantage in the draft just because you have hired a black head coach or a black GM or, a person of color as GM or head coach. Now, I don't like that. Okay, I'm all for, giving everybody a shot, but it should be about your merit. Like, the NFL should be a meritocracy because once you go on the field, it doesn't really matter what color you are or whatever. Can you get the job done? Can you catch the football? Can you throw the football? Can you run? Can you tolerate pain? Because you got the whole, CTE thing going on, but that's a different story, and I digress. My point is that the NFL should be about a meritocracy. It is on the field for the most part. There's some politics there, but for the most part, it's a meritocracy. Can you play or not? Can you tackle or not? Can you catch or not? Can you throw or not? That's what it's about. But when it comes to head coaching, when it comes to the GM, now you got to put this whole race thing in there. You already got the Rooney Rule. That ain't working enough. So you got to incentivize people with little things. And if I were a black head coach, I wouldn't like it. If I were going out to try and be a head coach, then I'll be like, all right, am I being hired because you're getting draft picks? Am I being hired because, you're trying to restructure your organization? Am I going to be here for 2 or 3 years and then you're going to fire me? It's kind of like tanking in the NBA, where a team will intentionally lose to try and get higher draft picks. That's kind of what it seems like to me because I think the NFL, you can tank. You can't tank that much in the NBA. They've kind of adjusted the lottery system. You can tank, but it's not as effective as it once was. All right. But I think in the NFL, there's no lottery system. So if you are the losingest, that's the word, team, then you get the highest draft pick. I think that's the way it works in the NFL. So you might just say, you know what, our team is terrible. We've had bad lucks with picks. We were strapped with money. We had a bad GM, this, that, and the third. What we're going to do right now is just tank for 2 or 3 years. We don't really care about winning or losing. We're going to hire a black head coach and a black GM, and we're going to lose intentionally. We're not going to put money behind it. And then what we're going to do is have a bunch of draft picks to be able to leverage for trades and or to draft very good talent. They're looking at guys in high school right now that are going to go to college, and they're going to project where they'll be in 3 years when they're eligible for the NFL draft, and then they'll pick them that way. So when they're hiring the black head coach and the black GM, they're not hiring them for their talent, for their skill, for their merit. They're hiring them to try and flip that, which they bring, which are draft incentives. You're able to skip up in the draft. So that's crazy. I mean, like the NFL draft, get a lot of rounds in it, and sometimes it's hard to get guys you really want. If you're able to jump like 16 spots and do this for a couple years back to back, it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. Now, like I said, this is not gone on the books yet. They're still negotiating it. They're still trying to figure out if they want to do it or not. But I don't like that at all because if I was going out for a position, I would not want it to be a thing like, oh, you got that because you're black or because you're Hispanic or whatever. Not even what outsiders are saying, but what I'm thinking to myself. Am I here because I deserve it, or am I here because I'm black? Am I used as a token? Okay. Are they using me the same way they might use some of these players? Okay. I don't like being just a pawn on a chess board. I don't like that at all. Hire me because I'm good. Hire me because I'm the best candidate out there. And if not, then that's fine too. I think if you are a private business, you should be able to hire and fire whoever you want for whatever the reason may be. Okay, if you're racist, then you can be racist. But see, the problem with being racist is when people find out that you're racist, then you're going to suffer business-wise. Okay? Now, I'm not saying if you don't hire a person of color that you're racist, far from it. I'm just saying if a person at a random business, let's say a restaurant, decided, you know what, I don't want to serve anybody that's not white, and they were pretty much open with that, and it was obvious, then what had happened is the place would get boycotted, they would get all types of threats and hate mail and everything else to the point they had to close down. Their business would drop. It'd just be bad for them. That's how it's supposed to be. Not just having these rules on the book say, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. I don't like that too much. Let the free market take control. Okay. This is 2020. People don't like the racism thing anymore. You might got a handful of numbnuts out there that like racism, but they don't represent the majority. The majority of us don't like that. And I think the majority of us can understand if a business were to hire a person, that's their decision to make. They can have an all white staff. Who cares? It don't matter. That's their business. As simple as that. I think that if anybody wants to do something else, then they should become a GM. They should become a head coach. They should be in a position to where they can control things. And it should be based on your merit. Okay, if you want to win, I would presume you're going to get the best head coach, the best quarterback, the best this, the best that. If you're not really trying to win, then it don't matter. But if you have winning on your mind, if you're trying to make money, because let's be clear, generally winning teams make the most money. All right. I think the only exception would be the Dallas Cowboys. But that's a whole different story. And I digress. My point is that generally winning teams make more money. So if the team wants to win, then they make the best moves. They'll get the best they can get. Okay, the race, all that kind of stuff like that, it don't really matter. But apparently it does to some in the NFL who think there are not enough black or quote unquote minority head coaches and GMs. But that what we're trying to do right now, I'm not a fan of at all. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think it's a good rule that they have proposed to give you, a boost up in your lottery picks? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You think it's affirmative action or not? You know my stance on it. I've laid it out pretty well. I'm not a fan of it. If I were going out to be a head coach under that situation, I would not feel comfortable. I would be like, all right, I'm right here because they're trying to use me. Am I the best candidate? What's really going on? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.